Postmodernism Project by Rachel Wilhelm, English 332. The song Apprehension by Manchester Orchestra is written by the band's lead singer, Andy Hull. It's about Andy Hull's fears and apprehensions when he finds out that his wife is pregnant for the second time after the first time she was pregnant and she had a miscarriage. The song I Can Feel a Hot One by Manchester Orchestra is also written by the band's lead singer, Andy Hull. It's about a man who gets in a car accident while his pregnant wife is in the car, and his pregnant wife and his baby both die, and he lives, and it's about how he wishes that he would have died too. The line, "To pray for what I thought were angels," ended up being ambulances, kind of shows how he wishes that the angels would have gotten him before the ambulance did. The song Apprehension and postmodernism go together because in postmodernism, they believe that all religions are valid. They go against science a lot and the scientific method, and they like to rely mostly on opinions. So religion was a common theme in a lot of postmodernism writing. I found this on allaboutphilosophy.org. And so in the song Apprehension, he writes a lot about his religion, which is he believes in God. And he writes in one line, "God has never been afraid to fill our cups with more than they could hold." And this is kind of about him and his wife and how God helped them. He's supplied them with everything that they need for their whole life and more. And then in another line he writes, "Running in a marathon of mental till God shows up again." And this line kind of talks about how God helped him through his first miscarriage, and he believes that he's going to help him through his wife's current pregnancy as well. The song I Can Feel a Hot One goes with postmodernism because in postmodernism they believe that all religions are valid, and in this song they talk about religion. In one line, Andy Hull says, "To pray for what I thought were angels ended up being ambulances, and the Lord showed me dreams of my daughter. She was crying inside your stomach." And it's about how God took his wife and his kid, and how he wishes that God would have taken him too. In postmodernism, they believe that all religions are valid, and in both of these songs, they're both written by Andy Hull, so they both talk about his religion, and he mentions in Apprehension how God helped him through his first miscarriage and how he's going to help him through his current pregnancy as well. And in I Can Feel a Hot One, he talks about how he wanted to be saved by the angels, but instead he was saved by ambulances. One big change that happened during the postmodernism period was that there was a lot of environmental issues and a lot of protesting, and they thought that nature was really important, so they felt the need to protect it. It was during the time of pro-environmentalism. So a lot of postmodernism works talk about nature, but neither of the songs that I looked at talked about nature in them. During the postmodernism period, there was a lot of war, and there was also a lot of protesting. So a lot of the protests that went on during this time were against the government. So in postmodernism, they like to challenge authority a lot and power, and I didn't really see this in either of the songs that I looked at either. The American dream of postmodernism was to get rich quick, but since postmodernism was all about the individual and individual opinions, the American dream varied from person to person. I think that in both of these songs, since they talk about him losing a family member, I think that his American dream would be to have a big family and just be happy with them. The postmodernism hero is very different from the common hero in past literature time periods. In an article by Edward Quinn on Facts on File, he says that the anti-hero may be cowardly, weak, inept, or simply unlucky. I think that literature changes with society, so in each time period, the society changes, so literature is going to change with it. So during the postmodernism period, a lot of things changed. There were a lot of wars, protests, and changes with the civil rights movements that influenced the literature of that time period. Andy Hull was the writer of both Apprehension and I Can Feel a Hot One, and he worked a lot of his life experiences into his writing, so he wrote about the things that happened in his life. In a lot of his songs, he wrote about losing a child, and that was because his wife had a miscarriage in her first pregnancy, and so that was common in a lot of his writing. And also, he was very religious, and he liked to incorporate that into his writing as well. I Can Feel a Hot One and Apprehension have really similar styles of writing because they're both written by Andy Hull, and they both have the common theme of him losing his daughter, and also the tone of both of these songs are really sad.